Okay, good day, class. So we are now on the last topic on the digestive system. So we are on the large intestine. So after the small intestine, we now move to the large intestine. And what is happening in the large intestine? Okay, so large intestine is shorter than the small intestine, and there are only few parts of this one. No? So let's go with the anatomy. So larger in diameter than the small intestine, but shorter in length. So, mas mataba sila, no? If you compare the diameter of the large intestine to the small intestine, they are larger. Okay? But they are shorter. Okay? So, extend from the ileocecal bulb to the anus. So, this is the ileocecal bulb. Okay? This is the ileocecal bulb. Actually, it is the connection between the large intestine and the small intestine. Remember that the end of the small intestine is the ileum, and the first part of the large intestine is the cecum. That's why the name of this one is called ileocecal bulb. Okay? So, and it ends on the anus. So, the ending of this one is anus. Actually, there is only few memorization on this large intestine, no? So, the subdivision is cecum, appendix, colon, rectum, and anal canal. And the colon again is divided, no? So, we have the cecum. So, this is the cecum. There is a finger-like projection that is connected to the cecum. It is called the appendix. Okay, this is the appendix. Okay, the colon is the entire of this one, no? Is the colon until here. Okay, and then we have the rectum. This one, it is where the pieces enter, and when the pieces is here, this anal canal, internal sphincter will open immediately, no? So this is now the anal canal. So there are only few, no? So cecum, appendix. Take a look at the beginning of your colon, no? It begins at the right side of the abdomen, at the lower quadrant. So this one is located at the lower quadrant. That is why if you will have appendicitis, your pain will be felt at the lower quadrant of the abdomen. So lower right lower quadrant, I should say. Sorry. Right lower quadrant of the abdomen. So try to feel your right lower quadrant. That is the beginning of your large intestine. It is where the appendix and the cecum is located. Okay? So if you go up, that is your colon, ascending colon, transverse colon, descending colon, sigmoid, and rectum. Okay? So, cecum is a sac, first part of the large intestine. Sac-like first part of the large intestine. And the appendix is connected to your cecum, and they don't know first the function of this appendix, no? Because if you remove it, nothing will happen to you. Nothing functional will be lost to you. But they said that it is a composed of accumulation of lymphatic tissue. So if you say lymphatic tissue again, it is the house of our WBC. So it is part of our immune system also that sometimes becomes inflamed and causes appendicitis. Okay? It hangs from the cecum. So you can see here, it is hanging from the cecum. This is the cecum, no? Yan. That's why this is located at the right lower quadrant of the abdomen. So if you will have appendicitis, okay, so inflammation of the appendix, the pain is felt there. Okay? Note, no, if you have pain at the right lower quadrant, do not drink pain reliever because you might have appendicitis. If you drink pain reliever, no, one of the symptom or sign that the appendix will rupture is that there will be cessation of pain or pain will be gone and you don't know that the appendix is already ruptured. That's the time there are some many patients who die because their appendix rupture. There will be peritonitis and poisoning inside the peritoneum. Biruin mo, tae lalabas dun sa ano mo, sa loob ng abdomen mo. So, you will be poisoned. Okay? So, do not drink any pain reliever if you felt right lower quadrant, no? So, colon is now subdivided. So, from the cecum, this colon now will be subdivided, no, until here. So, the first is ascending. Oh, it's very easy, no? So, to locate your ascending is here at the right, travels upright side of the abdomen. So, if you go back to your abdomen, go to the lower right lower quadrant of your abdomen and raise it up. That is your ascending colon. And transverse, of course, it travels across from right to left of the abdominal cavity, no, on the top, no. And then we have descending, travels down on the left side. He is now on the left side, this one. Okay, so this is the ascending, transverse, descending. Okay? And then we have the letter S shape region. S, sigmoid. Okay, letter S shape region. So this is your sigmoid. Okay? So this is the sigmoid. And the next is the rectum and anus. Okay, so they are now located in the pelvis. So this part is located in the pelvis. Okay? So anus, opening of the large intestine. So it is the opening of the large intestine. So if you can see here, this is now your anus, no? Anal canal. So this one is your anus. Okay, so it has external anal sphincter. So this is the external anal sphincter. So this is the one that you can control, no? Formed by skeletal muscle and under voluntary control. Look at this, skeletal muscle can be controlled. Smooth muscle are not controlled, no? That's why we have the internal involuntary sphincter inside this one. The one that you cannot control, no? Ayan, formed by the smooth muscle. These sphincters are normally closed except during defecation. So they are always closed. Right now they are closed. They will only open when you defecate. Okay? The difference between the two, no? When the feces goes to the rectum, if this is the rectum, the feces here, this one, the internal anal sphincter will automatically open. That's the time that you will feel there is something going out to your anus. But we are lucky, we are given another. It's the external anal sphincter, no? That you can control, that you can still go out, okay? Or you can still go home and control it and take your defecation at home. Okay? So that is the difference between the two. This one you cannot control because it is made up of smooth muscle, and a smooth muscle is under involuntary control. But the other one, the external, is made up of skeletal muscle, and skeletal muscle is under somatic or voluntary control. Okay? So this one. Okay? This is the external anal sphincter, which is made up of skeletal muscle. So there's no villi present. So if there's no villi present, no, but they have goblet cells. So if there's no villi, there's no digestion that is happening. It doesn't have brass border, no. It has goblet cell that produce alkaline mucus again. Alkaline mucus which lubricates the passage of feces. Okay, so it lubricates the passage of feces. So pampadulas ng tae, no? So that it can get out from the large intestine. Okay? To compare it, the walls of the large intestine to the small intestine, muscularis external layer is reduced to 3 bands of muscle called tenia coli. Okay, tenia coli. So these bands cause the wall to pucker into hostria. So this is one structure of the large intestine that we should notice. There is a pocket-like sac, okay, because it is made up of three bands, no? Three bands of muscle called tenecoli that would make up the hostria. Okay? So, food breakdown and absorption in the large intestine. So, there's no digestive enzyme. There's no digestion that is happening, no? So, there are resident bacteria. These resident bacteria are good bacteria that help our body, no? So, they digest remaining nutrients, okay, and produce some vitamin K and B. Okay, so large intestine do not perform digestion, but there are resident bacteria who do it. Okay, and they can produce some vitamin K and vitamin B, which is very essential in our body. No, this one is to prevent blood clot, and this one is for our neuron. No, and they release the gases. So it's the resident bacteria that releases the gases, the one that make our fart, no, when we fart. Woo! Okay, so they are the one who make the gases. So one major function also of the large intestine is reabsorption of water. Remember that small intestine also reabsorb water, no? The rest of the water that is needed by the body to be absorbed is also done by the large intestine. Okay? And vitamin K and vitamin B. So they will be the one to absorb this one. So the remaining materials are eliminated via feces. So the product of this large intestine that will come out to the body is now the feces. So this one will dry out the indigestible material by absorbing water, no? Yeah. So feces contents are undigested food residue that escape the small and large intestine, mucus, and they contain also bacteria. Ang tibay ng bacteria na to, no? They pass through our tonsil, they pass our in small intestine, in our Peyer's patches, okay, and they pass the hydrochloric acid, and they are still alive. Okay, so water. So feces still contain water. So propulsion in the large intestine. If you say propulsion again, it is transferring of food from one place to another place, moving forward. The description here is sluggish. If you say sluggish, very slow, no? Very slow, but mass movement. Everything will move. Okay, mass movement is happening. So, sluggish, slow, powerful movements occur 3 to 4 times per day. So, that is sluggish. That you can see that is very sluggish, no? Okay, so presence of feces in the rectum. So, what stimulates defecation reflex is the presence of feces in the rectum. So, when feces reaches the rectum, defecation reflex will be initiated. The internal anal sphincter is relaxed. Ayan na. Pag dumating na yung feces sa rectum mo, bukas ang internal anal sphincter. Okay, defecation occurs with the relaxation of voluntary anal sphincter. But the way you can control it, okay, so when you relax your external anal sphincter, defecation will occur. Okay, control of digestive activity. Mostly controlled by reflexes via the parasympathetic division, no? So the parasympathetic division is controlling this one. Remember, we have in our nervous system, we have division, no? We have the somatic and autonomic division. And in the autonomic, the somatic is the one that you can voluntary control. The autonomic you cannot control. And under autonomic, okay, we have the sympathetic and parasympathetic. Now, the control of our digestive system is on the parasympathetic. In the sympathetic, it makes us fast. And look at the characteristic of the digestive system. They are slow. That is why they are controlled by the parasympathetic. Mostly, of the reflexes are controlled by parasympathetic nervous system. Okay? So, chemical and mechanical receptors are located in the organ walls that trigger reflexes. So, who will trigger the reflexes of this? No? It is the chemical and mechanical receptors. There are mechanical receptors located in the walls of the organ. Just like when the bolus reaches the cardioesophageal sphincter, these mechanical receptors, okay, feel the presence of the bolus, so the cardioesophageal sphincter will open. The same is true with the stomach. When the bolus go inside, these mechanical receptors sense it, so there will be rippling activity that will happen. And the same is true in the small intestine. Segmentation will happen because of the presence of the chyme. Chemical, when the food goes inside to the mouth, salivary gland secretes saliva, okay, that has salivary amylase and begins digesting the carbohydrates. And when this bolus goes into the stomach, okay, the stomach is being stimulated by the rising pH of the gastric contents. Then the hormone gastrin is being secreted by the enteroendocrine gland, and this enteroendocrine gland will secrete gastrin, which is a hormone, and this hormone now will stimulate the gastric glands to secrete mucus, hydrochloric acid, and pepsinogen, no? And this pepsinogen will interact with the hydrochloric acid to become pepsin that would begin the digestion of the protein in the stomach, and so on and so forth. So in our small intestine, the final digestion is happening through chemical reaction with the bile that will emulsify the fats, okay, and the pancreatic juices that will now again complete the digestion of the some of the carbohydrates and also the protein. Okay, and in the brass border, there are also brass border enzymes that will now complete the digestions of these food groups so that there will be absorption. Okay. So stimuli includes stretch of the organ. So when the organ is stretched, it is being stimulated, and pH content, like in the gastric and the duodenum, no, the presence of chyme and bolus on that area, okay, stimulates the control of the digestive activity, and presence of breakdown products, okay, just like the disaccharides, uh, the polypeptide. So there will be a release of chemical substance that will digest them. Reflexes include activation and inhibition of the glandular secretion and smooth muscle activity. So here we have the vagus nerve, no? Vagus nerve that will stimulate them to release or activate them, no, for the glandular secretion, like the pancreas and the gallbladder.